Ben Askren is currently in critical condition and in desperate need of a lung transplant. This is one hell of a video to be making on Father's Day, but I feel this is the most one of the most important topics in MMA. If you guys don't know, you're new to the channel. I'm Tactical. Logan is my real name. I covered MMA, but lately I've been covering a lot of important topics. I've been going over the BJ Penn as somebody who went through psychosis, but this is important. Whether you are a fan of Ben Askren, a hater of Ben Askren, whatever you think about him, as the MMA community, we need to stand with Ben Askren, and we need to give him and his family all the support we can right now in this very, very horrific situation. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Chael Sonnen, Uncle Chael, provides a fresh update on Ben Askren's health crisis. We don't need to read that. In recent days, it's becoming public knowledge that former UFC fighter Ben Askren is currently dealing with a pretty severe health problem. He was admitted to a hospital initially relating to a staph infection, with it later coming out that he was suffering from pneumonia. Ever since then, the mixed martial arts world has been quick to flood his family with messages of support. There have been many conflicting reports regarding his current situation, with Daniel Cormier previously saying that Ben Askren was home before correcting himself to say that he meant back in Wisconsin as opposed to Nevada, where he originally was seen. In a recent video on his YouTube channel, Chael Sonnen provides an update on Askren's situation. I believe Chael Sonnen's video down below. The update, the little quote we get. One of the things the family really wanted to do was to get Ben Askren, like this was priority number one. They wanted to get Ben from Nevada where he was, to Wisconsin. Just geographically speaking, if this is to be the end, they wanted to be in Wisconsin. Damn, dude. So at this point in this story, we all find out that Ben needs a lung transplant. There is a hole in his lung for the information that I've been given. He he don't he doesn't have an answer as to how, or I guess as to even why there was a hole in his lung. But with the family working on that, they're able to get Ben from Nevada to Wisconsin. I was able to speak to the lovely Amy, Ben's wife, one time. She did make it clear in this one time that we talked that there wasn't going to be a lot of talking, but what was really hoped for was prayers and thoughts. And that's what his wife wants. That is exactly what I will give him. And now, look, beyond the cage, beyond the television, beyond, social media. These are real people. I'm a real person. You're a real person. Many of you have known people who've gotten pneumonia. It's one hell of a thing. Actually, when I was a kid, I suffered from severe pneumonia during the winter. Every time it winter, my breathing would not stop, but it was like somebody, like somebody was wrapping a rope, like a snake was wrapping around my throat, and I couldn't breathe. And I would, go into my parents' room each time, and they would wake up to me going, like me barely being able to talk. You know, it was scary, dude, especially as a kid. But I mean, you know, I got through it. This is a guy that just retired. This is a guy that's going into the next phase of his life. being there for his kids. His kids are young, I believe. Being there for his wife, man. I really hope that anybody who comes into this sport, who competes in that cage, whether I like you or not, I hope you walk out of this clean. I hope you walk out of it healthy and you are able to go and do better things outside the cage. And a lot of the times we see it, right? You know, well, look at like Randy Couture, man. Randy Couture, I know like he fought until he was like 45, went to acting, got into the Expendables, Rampage acted, Connor did up until everything happened with him. Like I've been a fan of this sport. I I say for 16, 17 years, like around 4 years old. My dad showed me the UFC when I was an infant, and I grew up watching the big fights. I grew up watching Brock Lesnar. And, I grew up watching The Ultimate Fighter, and it made me love combat sports. It made me love mixed martial arts. I went into WWE, as many kids do, and I learned, the art of promoting a fight. I just dropped my lighter. The art of promoting a fight, the art of selling a pay per view, right? And when I came back to the UFC, and around 2017, 16, around the time when Daniel Cormier was moving up to heavyweight and they had the trilogy with Stipe, was when I became a really hardcore fan back in, middle school. But, this is different from BJ Penn. This is different from Nick Diaz. This is not addiction. This is something he really can't control. I don't know how his lung got punctured, but I don't think he did it to himself. I don't think anybody would do that to themselves willingly. And it's damn dude. You know, in this sport, we have good moments, but we only have a few feel good moments, right? Like, look at Ben Askren in the UFC. Fights Robbie Lawler in his first fight, nearly gets TKO'd instantly. Gets that, wasn't a bulldog choke. Robbie Lawler drops his arm. Herb Dean stops it. Robbie Lawler protests instantly. That's how UFC fans were introduced to Ben Askren. Not everybody watched Bellator. Not everybody watches ONEFC. But those that did, those that at least knew of the name Ben Askren, they knew for years. Ben was a monster. And he only came into the UFC after he retired. Like that's the part where people don't remember that. He retired in one. And then he got traded for DJ. And then he came out of retirement. And he made this sport fun. I think what was it? UFC 235. I think he debuted on Kamaru Usman and Tyron Woodley when Kamaru Usman won the belt. And then I think, wasn't the main event Jones Reyes? I think. Yeah. Maybe. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But you have this guy, Turtleway Hatter. Does not look like a professional fighter. Like, when you think of a fighter and you saw Ben Askren, you don't believe your eyes, right? But he was a beast, and they were talking about him coming over and fighting GSP for years. And maybe if he came over in his prime, it would have gone differently. Maybe that's the problem with a lot of the Bellator fighters coming over. But still, he fought Robbie Lawler. He had the fight with Jorge Masvidal. The infamous Masvidal fight that started Masvidal's fandom. And that is the argument why UFC won that fight. Well, Ben Askren won and two in the UFC, but at least you built Jorge Masvidal. You had two major pay-per-views. You had the big fight with Colby Covington. They still made their money. And DJ went over to one. He had his fights. He got knocked out by Adriano Moraes. He then knocked him out again, and then he beat him in the trilogy fight, and then retired. But again, man, we're only watching these fighters for so long. We only watch these fighters for either, what is it, 20 minutes for a 3-round fight, including, corner stoppages. And then, if it's a 5-round event, it's 30 minutes, half hour. We are sitting here, we're watching people, we're watching punches and kicks and really showing off their martial arts ability. The thing that they have been working on ever since they were a kid, right? Ben Askren, collegiate athlete, had success. But man, it's, you hear 15 to 20 years. And that's a long time. A decade and a half, 2 decades. When you are in a career, when you're in this profession, where it is a privilege to be in that cage, it goes by, man. It really goes by. Anybody younger than me, I'm 21, maybe you're 16, 17. I don't know how you are. I put my videos on not for kids, but who knows? Time goes by instantly. It is already 4:21, and I really haven't done anything with my day, right? But this is the time that Ben Askren was working for, right? This is the time that Ben Askren went into that cage, went on that mat in college. He was working his way so that one day, when it was all said and done, we would go look back at his career and be like, man, this guy was a beast. This guy was different. He was entertaining. He was a finisher. Not in the UFC, but he was finishing people. One in Bellator. You know, and then you do all of that, and not even years, not even like 3, 4. He retired in 2021, right? Well, 4 years, not even 4 years into your retirement. Yeah, he's on DC's channel every now and then. He has his own podcast, I think. He's around the MMA community, and we love seeing Ben Askren. He is hilarious. He's entertaining. But at the end of the day, man, nothing you do in that cage will make anybody deserve what he's going through now. But I pray to God, I really do pray to God that he finds his help, that BJ Penn finds his help, that Nick Diaz continues his way in rehab. I don't want to be making these videos, man. I want to be making videos making fun of Ali Abdelaziz, making fun of Dana White for being, possibly in a relationship with John Jones. I want to be making fun of John Jones because he's one of my favorite fighters, and I'm trying to get him into the cage. But man, Ben Askren does not deserve this. Brother, if by any means you or your family come across this video, I'm praying each night for you. I really am. I want to respect your privacy in that, but you gotta understand, Ben, Amy, maybe you're his kids watching this by chance. We all care for you. We all, most of us, genuinely want Ben Askren to be okay. We want to see Ben Askren show up on random interviews and just start talking shit. Again, dude is fucking hilarious. But again, being a father, being a husband, especially on a day like today, that's more important. So please stay updated with this Ben Askren case. I will. I'll try my best, I got the BJ Penn one. I got the Nick Diaz one. I got a bunch of stories I'm following, but this one I will try my best to keep up with as well. Thank you for watching. Once again, please show support any way you can to Ben Askren in this time. Even if you don't care or if you hate Ben Askren, he desperately needs it. God, please keep the Askren family in your prayers once again. BJ Penn, Nick Diaz, everybody going through addiction right now in the MMA community, or anybody going through something similar to Ben Askren. But that's what I got. I'll have a fun video tomorrow ranting about Buckley and Usman, but I had to make this video.